So now that the cold weather months are approaching us, you guys know I ride all winter long. I never put the bikes away. I've been producing winter videos here in the Northeast for the past 4 years. I even went out on a 7-degree day just to give you guys some content. Also did some frozen waterfalls videos throughout the winter the past couple years. So you guys know me, I ride all year long. Doesn't matter what the temperatures are, but especially now when it is getting colder, there's one thing that I do, and I think you guys need to do if you guys are going to be riding in the fall or in the winter or in the early spring in the northern states. And that thing we're talking about is heated gear. I rock the Gerbing heated apparel. I'll show you guys exactly what I use in a little bit here. But if you guys aren't aware, if you guys have a brand new 2024 model Road Glide or Street Glide, there are already 2 connections, one for the passenger and one for the driver, for heated gear underneath the seat. And they come stock with the bike. I will have to say one thing about it is that the leads are a tad bit too short. So if you can, you will have to get probably, I'm gonna say like an 8 to 10 inch extension. So this way you can run it comfortably up and along the seat. So this way you could plug your heated gear in. I'm even gonna be riding the S1K on the other channel all winter long as there's no snow, ice, rain, and the temperatures don't go kind of below 45 degrees. I'm gonna be riding the S1K out pretty much all winter long as I can. I also have the heated gear harness right there that I put on this bike, so this way I could be nice and warm on the sport bike. This bike comes with heated grips stock right from the factory, and they work really well, and that's gonna work awesome in conjunction with my heated gear. So if you guys been watching me for a long time, and if you have, I really appreciate it. It really means a lot to me, and I appreciate your guys' support. So this is what I use. This is what keeps me super comfortable on any one of my bikes that I ever ride for the longest time. I've been using heated gear for many years, probably 15, 20 years. But this bike currently, it does not have heated grips. But like I said, my 2024 Road Glide has heated grips, and also the 24 BMW S1K has heated grips. So the heated grips really help. But if you ask, like, what if you don't have heated grips? Well, this is what I would use, or what I have used in the past if I don't have heated grips and want the best heated gear apparel. The main thing that I wear is this Gerbing heated jacket liner. And this thing, I can't even tell you how many times it saved my butt. I always, in the past, I think 4 years, when I went down to Daytona Bike Week is what, first week of March. So when you leave here in the Northeast in northern New Jersey, I have left where there was 1 inch, 2 inches of snow on the ground. I did a bunch of those trips. I did a bunch of trips with my buddy down to South Carolina. There was actually 2 inches of snow on the ground. So we're leaving in like 25-degree weather. And if you don't have this, it's pretty much unbearable. It's really difficult, because if you're riding in about 25-degree weather on the road at 50, 60 miles an hour, it's gonna feel like 10 degrees, maybe even colder, with the wind chill coming into play. So the Gerbing heated jacket liner, this is actually a liner. And it zips up nice and high. And this is the main thing that keeps me warm. And what happens is basically this jacket actually just keeps my entire core warm, keeps all of that blood flowing where the majority of a lot of the blood is, keeps that blood nice and warm, lets that warm blood flow throughout the rest of your body, and it just really totally changes the entire aspect of your ride. And if you don't have this, you could bundle up a lot, but no matter what, there's still that like underlining chill that you just can't get rid of when you're riding in super cold temperatures. And I don't expect you guys to ride when it's 5, 10, even 20, 30 degrees out. But let me tell you, this is where it helps. Even if you're like me, where you ride all winter long, it's gonna help you drastically. But even if it's like 40 or 50 degrees out and there's still a chill at, say, highway speeds, heated gear just makes the trip so comfortable. It literally feels like you're sitting inside of your house. That's how warm you are. So this is the main thing that keeps me warm. This has two plugs actually, which I'll show you guys. There's another plug right there. So what happens is the one plug, the white plug, will get mounted and plugged into the bike, and that'll operate the entire jacket. And I typically just have the jacket plugged in, and then when I'm too hot, I just unplug the jacket. Another option is to have this, which is a Gerbing thermostat. So one will operate the jacket and the other one will operate the gloves. And basically this is going to allow you to either have the jacket cool, warmer, or at the highest setting, depending on where you put the setting on the thermostat controller. So if you guys want to keep your setting at a specific temperature, this is what you would have. I personally don't carry this because it's not really bulky, but it's just more wiring that you have to carry with you. So I just either have the jacket plugged in or I don't have the jacket plugged in. And basically how the gloves work, you would have both of these leads plugged into your bike with a Y connector. And I'll leave you guys all these links for all the products down below in the video description so you guys could check them out or purchase them, because I'm telling you, it is a game changer when you have heated gear. It's not even close. You could even be coming home from somewhere, it's nice and warm during the day. I like to, like in the fall, winter, spring months, I love to carry this thing. I actually always carry the heated jacket liner in my saddlebag. And I'll give you a for instance where if you could leave like 60 degrees out during the day, you get to your destination, and then in the late evening, it gets down to say 40 or 45. That's when I take out my heated jacket liner, I put it on, I plug it in, and my trip home is super comfortable. You never have to literally be in torture or in chaos on the bike. The heated gear works so good to where you don't even realize, honestly, you don't even realize the temperature that is outside. So these two would basically plug into your bike with a Y connector. And then there's two zippers on each side of the sleeves. The leads come out. And then I also use the Gerbing heated gloves, which I'll also have a link for you down in the description. What I love about these gloves, they're not bulky. So what you do is you just plug that glove in, and I usually tuck the wire back in here, but I'm just gonna show you. And then I put my glove on, and now these are now heated. So in conjunction with the heated gloves and the heated grips, honestly, it could be 5 degrees out and you don't even feel it, because you have two things heating your hand. One, the grips, and the other, the glove. If it gets a little warmer, you could use either or, but there is no comparison to a heated glove. For instance, if you don't have a heated glove on, you could have your heated grips on the highest setting. It will not work as good as if you have the Gerbing heated glove on. It just works that good because it's actually heating your whole hand. But they're also, if you guys could see, they're nice and tight. They have some protection here on the knuckles, and they're not big and bulky. It feels like any other glove. They feel really good. So what I wanted to show you guys today, if you guys kind of aren't aware how to do it, I'm gonna show you guys how to install the heated gear harness that you're gonna need for the bike, because I just took a trip, a 300-mile trip this past weekend, which I'm gonna bring you guys that video in the next couple days. But I just took a trip on my 2002 Springer Softail, and I didn't have heated gear. In the morning, I was a little cold, but then throughout the day, it warmed up, and then it was fine. But if I had the heated gear, I was waiting on the harness because I had to order it. If I had the heated gear, I would have literally been in heaven. I would have been super comfortable, and I would have had no issues. So I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna take off the seat, I'm gonna show you exactly how easy it is, and then I'll show you guys like where I plug it in. But you could do this, like I showed you guys, on any bike, whether it's a Springer or a KTM, a BMW, any bike, any motorcycle, moped that has a battery, you could install this heated gear on your motorcycle and use it. So this is the heated gear harness right here. I don't know if you guys could see that, but I'll show you up close later. So this is basically just a lead with an inline fuse, positive, negative. It's gonna go straight to the battery. And then right here, this is where you plug your jacket into. Yeah, so right now, let me take off the seat and I'll show you guys exactly how this is done, because this is just so easy. And I want you guys, like, I don't know if you guys are like maybe worried if you can do this or not, but I want you guys to know that it's like super easy. There's only 2 leads, like I said, 2 screws onto the battery. You got your positive, you got your negative. We're gonna unloosen those and put these leads on. This one, the red will go to positive to the red. The black ground will go to the ground on the battery. Then we're gonna tuck the wires up in here and then just put the lead out towards the front along the frame of the bike here in the front. And then we're just gonna leave about 6 inches out of this harness, and it's kind of going to be just sticking out like that. So this way we could plug the jacket in. So what I noticed here on these battery terminals here on the bike, I actually have a threaded hole right there, and I actually have 2 extra bolts. And what I'm going to do is, instead of taking off the main terminals, which you can do this as well, what I'm going to do is actually put the bolt through the terminal here like so, and then just bolt it right on. So now I'll just put this terminal right here, and I think it'll be a lot better. This way I don't have to use the one that's on the main, for the main starter right there, or for all the power on the battery, you see. And then I'll just put the other one here on the negative side. I'll go underneath this one, move that over, and I'll put it right there. It's just much cleaner, and this way I don't have to take off the main terminals at all. So if your battery does not have something like that, where you have 2 extra threaded slots, threaded holes, then you will have to take off the main bolts off the terminals and put negative to negative, positive to positive. But that's how easy that is. So now once we tighten that down nice and snug, then what I do is, there's a 15 amp fuse in here, which is right there. I typically keep a 20 amp fuse actually in there, but I'll keep the 15 amp in there now. But I typically keep a 20 in there, because I have noticed through experience, and like I said, I've been using the Gerbing heated apparel for quite a long time. I've noticed that anything less than a 20 tends to blow out sometimes. Not sure why. It just all depends, like how much of a load I guess you have on the battery and on the bike or whatever. But sometimes it would blow. But every time I kept the 20 in there, I never had an issue, and it never gave my bike an issue with anything, with any other kind of electronics that are on the bike. So that's how simple. I tucked all the wires in, like right there. The lead is up. That's all you need. Right? It's just up and out of the way like that. And then I'll put the seat back on now, and then I'll show you guys. I'll bring you around here, so this way you guys could see kind of what I did. So now I got the seat back on, and you see the lead right there? That's all you need. And this way you could plug your jacket in, and it's always there. It's going to be there until the end of spring, until I don't need it anymore. Believe it or not, even that 8,000 mile trip that I just did in July and August, I wish I had my heated gear. I didn't bring it. I'll tell you why, because there was some mountain passes that we went through in California, Nevada, Oregon, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, South Dakota. It was like 39 degrees, and I was literally freezing my butt off. So if you plan on doing a cross-country trip, regardless, even if it's in July, August, June, September, any of those months, and you think, oh no, I'll be okay, it's gonna be hot, don't. We went up Pikes Peak, and it was literally like almost snowing. It was like 40 degrees, started to rain, and my body was really chilly. And once your body is cold and you start shivering, you could have some problems or potentially crash, because you can't really feel your fingers or your hands, and it could potentially be a problem. So it's better to be warm or safe rather than sorry. So that's all you need, is just that little tail right there. And I'm going to bolt the seat back on now, and I'll put the back seat, I'll bolt it all together, and then I'll show you guys how easy it is once I'm on the bike with the jacket. So me, I'd rather be warmer than cold, because if you're obviously too warm or warm, you could take your gear off and somewhat still function. But if your body is too cold and you have a long distance to travel, say you're on a long distance trip, and if you have a long distance to travel, I'm not even joking, it could be a question between life or death, and I'm not joking. There was some situations where my heated gear, I was on a long trip. I think when I was on my bun burner, a bun burner is 1,500 miles in under 36 hours. When I went up north to do it, I got stuck in about 12 a.m. doing it in the Adirondack Mountains up in New York State, deep up into New York State, kind of trying to find a hotel, and my heated jacket wasn't working or didn't work. And I was in a really big pickle because I was literally freezing. So if you get into a situation like that in the cold, like, you either have to find a place quick to shack up for the night, or you gotta pull over on the side of the road and make a fire. Otherwise you could get yourself into a lot of trouble. So now there's only one more thing I have to bolt on, is the pillion seat, and then I'll show you guys on the bike. And I actually have a club meeting today, and it's gonna be chilly, and that's another reason why I'm putting this thing on, because I'm definitely gonna need it tonight. Because right now it's okay, right? So I rode the bike before and you're fine, but the problem is if you're coming home late from wherever you're going, you could be freezing. So that's why, like, in these months, the heated gloves and the heated jacket liner, I keep on my bike at all times. So now when I'm leaving, if I really want to be warm, what I'll do is I'll put this on right over my first layer. So if it's really super cold, that's what I like to do, is I like to keep this heated jacket liner as close to my skin, as close to my body as possible. If it's not as cold on a specific day, if it's not that cold, then what you can do is you could have a t-shirt and maybe a sweatshirt and have this over it, just to kind of build a layer, like a warm insulation, a warm vapor barrier layer around your body, and then have something else over it. But if it's really cold out, the best thing to do is to keep this jacket as close to your body as possible. Do not put this right up against your skin. I highly do not recommend that. At least have a t-shirt or a long sleeve shirt like you guys seen, the one that I just had on. At least have that on. So once you're on the bike, you just pull this little tab off and you plug in. So even with the bike not running, don't forget, we directly bolted the harness to the battery. So right now, the jacket is already getting warm. I could feel the sleeves getting warm. I could feel the chest and the back end warm. That's where all the coils are on this jacket. They're all over the sleeves, they're all over the front, they're all over the back. It just makes the ride so comfortable. It's literally, sometimes I feel, and I did this in the past when I was on a ride, like 30 degrees, 25 degrees. How many times past 4 or 5 years I've been down to Daytona, we leave here and it's like 25 degrees, but I feel like I've never left the house. That's how warm I am. You could also get the Gerbing heated pants, Gerbing heated socks. That's what I have. And in those times, I also use those items. If I'm going to be on the bike, say for 10, 12, 14 hours a day, you're definitely going to need that. But just for around town, around your area, if you're gonna do 100, 200, 300 miles, so do some restaurant hopping or some bar hopping, or just, you know, wanting to take a nice ride, I would definitely keep this and the Gerbing heated gloves in my saddlebag at all times. I gotta unplug this because I'm getting hot. And then once you unplug it, then I kind of cool down a bit. Then once I get too cold, I kind of plug it back in. And if you keep that cap on, no moisture or rain are gonna get in there. It's just a great system. And a lot of people don't use it. How do I know? Because whenever I'm at a Bikes and Breakfast, whenever we're at a, you know, whenever we're at a meet and greet, or whenever we're at a bike night, you know, and it's during kind of the fall and stuff like that, I always ask people, you know, they always say it's too cold to ride, it's too cold to ride, I don't ride anymore. I'm like, well, do you have heated gear? They're like, no. So I'm like, that's why people, you know, a lot of people, I'm gonna say a vast majority of people put their bikes away because they get too cold. I have a couple friends like that, you know, don't ride unless it's 60 degrees. You know who you are. But you know, they just don't ride because it's too cold. And I tell them, I'm like, get the heated gear. It will extend your riding season so much longer. Like, you're not even gonna believe. A 40-degree day feels like 80 degrees if you have heated gear. You're absolutely fine. Let me know what you guys think. That's how easy it is to install. You guys can do it yourself. I'll have all the links for you guys for these heated gear, the heated gear apparel that I use. And if you guys want to pick it up, that'll be great. But that's it for now. I got to get ready. We got a club meeting. I got to do some more editing. I have a trip that we did 300 miles down to Delaware with the club on this bike. And me and Sandy, because Sandy just got his Softail Deuce, we're going to be doing a nice trip next week up north into Vermont. So stay tuned for that one. Appreciate you guys for watching. Peace out. We'll see you guys on the next one.